people feel that way.
Yeah. A lot of people do like their mum there, but no, not me.
I don't blame you. Totally.
Yeah.
And you said it took 30 hours.
30 hours. Well, the contractions started and they went really, really sharp pains for, coming every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes. But then they stopped for a certain period, like about 6 hours during the day, and then it started again, and that went on for 3 nights. 2 nights, and then I went into hospital 6 o'clock in the morning, and Maddie was born 12 o'clock at night. So they kept on going, And
what about, like, from a physical point of view? A lot of women that I've spoken to said they feel completely vulnerable because they're not in control of their body at all.
Absolutely, and you're in an odd position. I mean, your legs are wide spread apart and the doctor's there going, come on, like I can see the head, and
so if
it's such a vulnerable,
If you're a prude too, was that difficult, or are you just not thinking about modesty?
No, because you're not thinking about that at all. I mean, if my mother was there or something, I would be, or someone I knew, but they're doctors, you don't know them, they do it every day, you know. And by that time, you don't really care. You're just like, God, get me out of this alive and get my baby out alive, And
do you actually feel it starting to come down? Like 30 hours is a long time. Can you tell where it is in you the whole time?
Yeah, because there's a couple of different stages. And first of all, it's the sharp pains here. It's the head sort of pushing against the cervix, I guess. But then it goes to the bottom. You can feel it at the second or third stage. It goes
to
the
through that.
Oh, okay.
No.
It goes to the bottom, so it feels like you're pushing. It's going to come out your bum, basically.
Oh, right. Yep.
And that's when you get on your all fours. It's more comfortable because you just got to stretch it kind of out. But that's the most painful, and that's when my waters broke. But there was hardly any. The poor baby. It was
swimming in the shallow end, was it?
It was swimming in the real shallow end. So, I said, "Oh, Les, I think my water's broken." She goes, "I don't see anything." And I said, "I felt a drip running down my leg, and that's basically all it was." Whereas some people have a big puddle,
But in movies, it's always exciting. It's like there's a Blue Haven pools up.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember Les, like I was on my fours, and the nurse was somewhere, and Leslie said, "Oh, the nurse said that you can't push yet, Claire. You can't push." And I said, in the end, I'm like, okay. In the end, I said, "Leslie, I can't hold it anymore. I've got to push this thing out. It's right there." And she goes, "Okay." Went and got the nurse, and the nurse went, "Oh, I didn't realise the head was there. Okay, get on the bed, quick." So I got on the bed, and then I was pushing for like an hour and a half, and nothing was happening. Like the head was there, and they're going, "Push," and I'm going, "I am." And they're going, "You're not, because you wouldn't be able to speak. Come on, push." And then they had to get the doctor, and the doctor came in 10 minutes, I think. He was there.
What sort of emotions are you having? Are you really angry at the people in the room? Or do you start blaming people for putting you through this?
No, I was scared. I remember saying to Leslie, "Les, do you reckon I'm going to be able to do this? I don't know if I'm going to be able to put..." I was just scared.
I mean, actually, in the midst of it, though.
In the midst of it, when I was pushing, at the last stage, and I guess I was going, "Oh," because I was too scared to push, because you're kind of scared to... You don't know what's going to happen to your body, You've got to push this massive thing out.
You're out of control.
It's a pretty exciting experience, though. But oh my gosh, day just goes to night, and it's just suddenly it's day and night, and you just have no idea about what time it is. It's just time means nothing. It's just you're waiting for these pains to go away.
Strangely, all the men in the green room out there in the waiting room, they've all left the radio area. They're all making themselves cups of tea in the other spot where they can't hear the radio. I want to really quickly talk about breastfeeding because people have got really different experiences when it comes to breastfeeding. In fact, it can be very traumatic for some women. Because
it can, yeah.
If they can't do it, they feel a lot of emotions associated with that. Did that happen quite naturally for you, Tony, with the twins? Or did they just cling on for a big feed there when they first arrived?
Well, the first time I ever breastfed, to tell you the truth, I can't remember it, honestly. I know I had a lot of problems. At one stage, the thing that turned me off it, because I only did it for about a month, it's going to sound funny, but my baby's ripped the top of my nipple off, basically. And because I
don't even have teeth. How on earth did they do that?
Oh, trust me, they could do it.
Big suckers.
Yeah. But I knew how to feed two at once, but I for some reason, I just wasn't producing enough milk.
Oh, okay.
To get about 30 mils, it would take me about, through a breast pump, take me about 6 hours to get 30 mils.
Wow, yeah.
And the thing that fully turned me off it is I finally got that little tiny bit of milk. I put it in the fridge. We had a blackout. And the milk went off. And I just went, no. But I used to try and breastfeed, and I would be sitting there screaming because it was so painful.
Yeah. I've heard for some women it's so painful. And I remember people saying to me, look, it is the most painful thing you'll ever experience because they're so tender and these babies are really sucking hard. And and they just said stick with it. But I didn't really have a problem. It just
You had the opposite experience, didn't you, Claire?
I loved it. I thought breastfeeding, I remember saying to my mum, because my mum hated it, and she just couldn't, she hated it, you know, so she couldn't understand why I liked it so much. I'm like, Mummy, you meant to feel so, I just felt like my head was in the clouds, you know. I was just like, wow, this feels really nice. Just felt really nice. And some women get that and some women get the opposite. They just can't stand it.
You used to look forward to feeding time.
Well,
except at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Not when you had to
I didn't like my body being so like a machine. You know, you're constantly having to feed the baby, but I enjoyed the feeling when I was doing it. Yeah. It was kind of, the only way I can describe it, it was very orgasmic. It was kind of like the feeling you get when you're having an orgasm, I guess. That's how it seriously felt. It was intense. That's why I was saying, is this normal? Are you meant to feel like this?
Well, I can't answer that myself.
Yeah.
But the one thing that has annoyed me, though, people get up there and say, if you don't fully breastfeed your kids, you don't have the same bond with them. I mean, I only did it for a max of a month, if that. And I have a great bond with my kids. But the people who are always saying that is always men. And it's like, well, how do you know? You know, you don't know these scenarios unless you've been there, done it yourself.
So you're saying there's a guilt associated with giving them the bottle, yeah?
No, I didn't feel that guilt.
No.
I didn't feel bad for not being able to breastfeed. You know, my only concern was that they were healthy. You know, like, we gave them, there's only a tiny little bit in the formula milk that breast milk has that the formula doesn't. And personally, I have a great bond with my kids. You know, it's like, even when you're feeding them, you're holding them close to you, you're looking down at them, you're feeding them. Not everyone can fully breastfeed. I know for a fact I won't be able to do it next time I have kids. And but I know I'll have a great bond with my kids anyway.
Yeah, I breastfed for 6 months, and after that I ran out of milk, and also I was doing, you know, like other stuff, and I'd have to leave Maddie with my parents, and then I'd have to, you know, that's when I started on formula, and your milk supply just disappears, you know.
Yeah.
It's supply and demand type thing, you know. If they're not, you know, it kind of disappears, and I felt really sad. I know that I felt really sad. And also because of the breastfeeding, it's hormonal. You know, the orgasmic feeling that I felt, it's all hormones. So when you stop, you lose that orgasmic feeling, and the opposite happens. You know, you feel a bit low. Your hormones. And yeah, I felt sad. I felt like, because I felt like anyone could feed Maddie with the bottle, but to have her when I was breastfeeding, only I can do that. And I must admit, I did feel a disconnection between Maddie and I. Yeah, I didn't feel that. Some part of the bond was cut. And it took me a while to get that bond back, actually. For a couple of months, I was kind of like in a weird state of mind, and it took me a while to get that bond back with her. I had to find other ways to get the bond back. Yeah.
I remember the first time my kids stopped needing me to hold that bottle. That made me sad. I actually sat there and cried because I thought, I remember sitting there with Simon saying, they're not going to need me like that anymore soon.
I'll tell you what, parenthood's full of these sad endings and then these
Exactly.
fantastic sensations of new beginnings. So that's what parenthood's all about, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Listen, we've got to wrap it up. Thank you very much for both talking so candidly. My goodness. I'm glad I had that epidural at the beginning. That was got me right through it. If you've got something to add to the conversation, give us a call on 6585 2233. The ladies might even be able to talk to you if you call in now.